But if I told you that the Electoral College is actually fair, you wouldn't believe me? In this video, we will talk about several myths around the Electoral College, and I will give you an argument for the Electoral College that made me doubt my position on it. Let's get started. It's 2016. Hillary Clinton clearly has more votes than Donald Trump. But the person who moves to the White House? Donald Trump. Something similar happened in 2000. In many countries, the fact that a candidate with fewer votes in the election becomes president would have meant a scandal, manipulation. In the US, it is constitutional. And it isn't that unlikely that this repeats this year. And with that, I say welcome to the Washington History Show. If you don't know why this is possible, check out this video here. And now we start with myth number 1. Starting with something which isn't really a myth, more an assumption. I already released my prediction for this election and I say it will not repeat. I say Kamala Harris will win the popular vote as well as the Electoral College, but to be honest, I can't exclude it. I cannot believe that the Democratic Party will win like this, but it isn't that unlikely that the Republicans win like this. Polls indicate it. And I also say, if Trump becomes president, then probably because of that. I actually have a quite low opinion of polls, and I stick to my prediction, but I can't exclude that this happens. But why do I actually think that the Democrats won't win like this? There we are with myth number 2. Of course, the Democratic Party can win like this in theory. The last 2 times it happened for the Republican Party, so that the Republican Party moved to the White House despite having fewer votes in the popular vote. The last 2 times, in 2016 of course, Hillary Clinton had many more votes than Donald Trump, but Donald Trump moved to the White House because he won the Electoral College, and in 2000 it happened as well, but 2000 is a special case anyway. As far as I know, it didn't occur a single time in the 20th century, I guess in 1888 for the Republican Party, but I didn't check out the earlier elections because we can't use them really as an argument, and with my argumentation already, for example, 2012 isn't that actual anymore. Now the justification that rather the Republican Party benefits from this isn't just based on the fact that they won the last 2 times it occurred because of that. The argumentation refers to the fact that the Democratic Party has a clear tendency in populous states such as New York and California. For example, in 2020, Joe Biden won California with more than 60%, but the assumption that the Republicans rather benefit from this because of that is too easy, because the Republicans lose all of their votes in those populous states as well. The next point is that other populous states, such as Florida and Texas, have a rather Republican trend. Therefore, I decided to calculate back to 2012 how many votes each party lost in those populous states: Florida, Texas, California, New York, the most populous states right now, the most populous states back then. And in 2012, surprisingly, the Republicans lost more votes in those populous states. Obama won the popular vote as well as the Electoral College back then, but the party who lost more votes because of the winner-takes-it-all system were the Republicans. But in 2012, Florida was still a swing state. And back then, Obama still won it very closely. Therefore, Mitt Romney lost almost 50% of the votes in Florida back then. In 2020 as well as 2016, the Democrats lost many more votes in those states when Florida went to the Republicans. I didn't calculate this precisely, just roundabout, but it was enough to read the trend. And in 2020 as well as 2016, the Democrats lost many more votes than the Republicans in 2012. And while calculating this, I already saw the main influence was based on the fact that the parties had lost Florida, but the Democratic trend in California and in New York had a huge impact. The point is also that the Democratic trend in California and New York is much clearer than the Republican trend in Texas and Florida. So yes, I'd say the Democratic Party is more likely to lose because of that, but in 2004, George W. Bush won the Electoral College as well as the popular vote, but the Democratic challenger, John Kerry, almost won despite having fewer votes. The final race took place in Ohio back then. The final electors, the decisive electors, came from Ohio. In the end, it was already clear. If Kerry won Ohio, if Kerry got the last votes in Ohio, he would have won the election because of the Electoral College, despite having fewer votes. Yeah, there are dozens of arguments for this position. In this video, I will give you an argument against it. States with a collective dissatisfaction. Collective dissatisfaction exists anywhere, but states with a collective dissatisfaction can gain impact power because of that. For some states, it wouldn't really mean a difference which candidates win. Other states can put their hope in a certain candidate. One state, of course, wouldn't mean a change here right now, but if several states put their hope in a certain candidate, they could have the last word in this election. The fact that I argued for the Electoral College doesn't forcefully mean I support it. I'm not going to tell you whether I support it or not. I just thought people argue against it every day. This time I will give an argument I consider to be quite good for the Electoral College. Doesn't mean that this means my personal opinion on the Electoral College. Now the point is, in most elections, it wasn't a big topic because popular vote and Electoral College were simply the same. Had the same result. But as it already happened twice in this century, the discussion became louder and louder. And yes, it needs a constitutional change to abolish the Electoral College. And constitutional changes aren't easy. But people criticize and want to abolish the Electoral College not because of the fact that they don't like an Electoral College, but of the way it works. And this is something which could be changed without a constitutional change. The idea is that the electors don't vote for the winner of the state, but of the whole nation. So if the Democratic candidate won in California, for example, but the popular vote was won by the Republicans, then the electors from California needed to vote for the Republican candidate. So there is a bond of states who want to achieve exactly this, that their electors are sent like this. Even if it became reality, the court could still abolish this. I don't really see the point with that, to be honest. Correct me if my logic is wrong, but for example, the last big third-party candidate, Ross Perot, received many votes, not a single elector, but he was far away from winning anyway, because of votes in the popular vote and of course in the Electoral College. I rather see this as a problem. In the US, different than in other countries, you either win completely or you lose completely. And therefore, people do not really see the point in voting for someone where they think that they don't have a chance anyway, which is actually the case for most third-party candidates. Yeah, actually every third-party candidate in ages. Now this is an insinuation, but an insinuation I can actually understand, because we already found out the Republicans rather benefit from it than the Democratic Party currently. So if the constitutional change was actually tried, yeah, I think many more Democrats would vote for it in both houses than Republicans. And I found a survey which showed, yeah, more Republicans support keeping the Electoral College, more than 50% of those asked, while the Democrats were clearly against it. I heard both. Both is right, both is wrong. There are states where the electors are committed to vote the way their home state did. And in those states where the electors are committed to vote for the candidate winning in their home state, there were already electors judged by a court and got a punishment because they voted for someone else. In other states it is allowed. It rarely happened, and I think it is also expected that they vote for the candidate winning in their home state, but then it is allowed. As I said, rarely happened, but it happened, and in some election maps, some electors actually voted, for example, for a third-party candidate. Now, what do you think about the Electoral College? Leave a comment, leave a like. Personally, I think history is much more exciting than current politics, and I plan to make exactly about this more videos after this election. Therefore, you should subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.